Hello, everyone. My name is Axel from Thinking Right Center, but you guys probably don't really care who I am. You guys just want to know the top 10 shortstops in Major League Baseball. This is part 5 of my top 10 series. We have done catcher, first base, second base, third base. So naturally, I'm doing shortstop today. A lot of talent this position. The most talented kid in your Little League team played shortstop. Chances are the most talented guy in your MLB team plays shortstop. So, loaded position, lots of talent. Hopefully, you guys like the video. Starting this list off with a long lost friend of mine is Xander Bogaerts of the Padres. To be completely honest, being the nerd that I am in terms of batted ball data, I wanted to put Willy Adames over him on this list. But you know what? Sometimes you got to factor in the expected grit of a player. Forget the analytics. What are his manalytics? That's how you can really tell a good ball player. But all jokes aside, Xander is still a good player, demonstrated by a 4.4 F4 last year. I'm not sure what the Padres did to make his defensive metrics start liking him more, but he had the best season he's ever had defensively, although I'm not sure how much I buy that, especially now that he's on the wrong side of 30. His exit velocities have now decreased in 2 straight seasons, which is definitely concerning, and he hit the ball on the ground even more than he ever has previously at a 49.8% ground ball rate. Many people will cite that he was playing through some kind of a wrist injury, but as a Red Sox fan, let me tell you that Xander is always fighting through some kind of injury near his hands, so don't expect that to change. Despite all of this, I have him at 10 because Xander just does the damn thing every year somehow. He's got elite bat to ball skills and has simply been too good for too long for me to write him off this list. But keep in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if he's off this list next year. The hardest guy to rank on this list is coming in at number 9 with Carlos Correa of the Twins. After maybe the craziest offseason I've ever seen a player have, where he was a Giant, Met, and Twin all in one, Correa struggled for the first time in his career, putting up the lowest F4 he's ever put up in any season, including 2020. As early as last year, I would have considered putting him at number 1, but this was truly a disaster of a year. He was a below average hitter and has shockingly graded out as a below average defender in each of the past 2 seasons. He's still only 29, but there's a reason why the Giants and Mets both didn't sign him after his physical. And maybe we saw some of the early signs of a chronically hurt player, but I don't know. He still played in 135 games. I think there's a chance that we have seen the peak of Carlos Correa, which is sad because he's so uber talented and exciting. However, he is not this bad, and I really don't think anybody should be writing him off quite yet. He still hits the ball hard, and his barrel percentage is still good. I think there's a strong chance we see a nice little bounce back from Correa after a normal offseason, but the unknown made me scared to put him any higher than 9. One of my favorite players to watch is Bichette of the Blue Jays, and he checks in here at number 8. When I say he's one of my favorite players to watch, it's because he seemingly has never seen a pitch that he doesn't think he can hit. And honestly, who could blame him? He kind of can hit pretty much anything. The problem is that he runs a chase rate in the 10th percentile with 36.4%, and he showed no signs of particularly caring that he does, so I have no hope that he's going to start laying off pitches and walking more anytime soon. He still smashes the ball, though. He's got a well above average 90th percentile exit velocity. He could stand hit the ball in the air more, but Bo seems like a guy who's very content on being an amazing line drive hitter who hits around 300 and is around 25 homers, which is obviously very good. I was also surprised that he only stole 5 bags as a guy who stole 25 just 2 years ago. He dealt with a knee injury later in the year, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the speed. But as a 25-year-old, I expect the stolen bases to go up. Maybe not 25, but go up a little bit. What holds Bo back is the defense. That -2 fielding run value is actually an improvement from his past, as he figured out a way to not sail as many baseballs into the 5th row. But I don't believe that the defense is going to get much better than this. He's a very safe player who can really hit, and I've got him at 8. A player who really stepped up in 2023 is number 7 with J.P. Crawford of the Mariners. Crawford is one of the notable guys last offseason who took a trip to Driveline. And wow, Driveline should be using his improvements on every advertisement they make. The ground ball rate went from 46.5% of the time to 39.6. The average exit velocity went from 85.1 to 88.3, and he more than doubled his barrel rate to 4.8%. This led to a career high in almost every impactful stat: WRC plus, on base, slug, home runs, OPS, everything. You name it, he improved on it. And I believe in this breakout. Those are real tangible changes, significant changes. He didn't just get lucky and start finding some more holes here and there. He actually hit the ball harder and in the air more. These changes led to a career high walk rate with a very impressive 14.7% of the time. He's always been a guy with a great eye, but pitchers could just go right at him. What's the worst he's going to do? Slap a single in the left field? Now that's changed. He still has a great eye, and pitchers actually have to be careful throwing to him. That's a great recipe. It might not be a 134 WRC plus, But 125-ish is where I project him, and I really think he's closer to league average defensively than what the advanced metrics say. When he first came up, he was a glove first prospect, so I just have a hard time believing that he's below average now. I really like JP, and I think the perception of him needs to be changed, which is why I have him at 7. The other half of the slickest fielding middle infield in the league is Dansby Swanson of the Cubs, and he comes in here at a healthy number 6. Swanson's first year as a Cub went about how you'd expect it. He hit slightly above league average and was the best defensive shortstop in the league. Some people will still give that nod to Lindor, but I'm officially passing the crown to Swanson. I'll talk about Lindor later, though. Swanson has put up a 15 fielding run value in both of the past 2 seasons, which places him in the top 4 of all players in terms of defensive value. And I understand defensive metrics can be very difficult and very nuanced. However, he ranks 8th in defensive runs saved also. And on top of all this, if you have a set of working eyeballs, which I presume most of you do, you can simply just watch him and understand how good the glove is. Now, the bat is interesting. By WRC+, he's the second lowest on this list to Correa. He's a streaky player, and it is apparent to see that in his season WRC+. As in the past 4 seasons, he's posted sporadic numbers like 115, 99, 116, 104. He kind of lives in that league average to above league average number. I choose to believe he is closer to above league average than not. I believe this because he hits the ball fairly hard, running a barrel rate of 10.9% last season, and has averaged 25 home runs over the past 3 seasons. I think the power is fairly underrated. He does have a bit of a contact problem, though. His 73.9% in-zone contact rate is well below league average, and he strikes out roughly 25% of the time in any given season. But he does temper this by having a good approach with a low chase rate, leading to a 10.3% walk rate. Dansby is great because he'll find a way to produce even if he does go 0 for 4, which is why I have him at 6. The Gunnar Henderson show has officially arrived. He's number 5 after winning Rookie of the Year last year for the Baltimore Orioles. Some people are going to rank him as a third baseman because Jackson Holliday will eventually be the shortstop there at some point. But I didn't want to pencil in a 20-year-old shortstop on opening day, so I'm going with Gunnar as the shortstop for now. Gunnar showed us 2 different versions of himself last year. On June 30th, he had a 30% K rate and a 12.5% walk rate. From that point on, he struck out 21.7% of the time with a 6.5% walk rate. I like the Gunnar that swings more and walks less because he could really start leaning into a big power profile here. He hit 28 home runs as a rookie and had the same 90th percentile exit velocity and around the same chase rates as Corey Seager. Seager makes more contact more often and just in general makes better swing decisions. However, Corey Seager didn't always run these crazy contact rates with a great fly ball approach, as he's had many years to perfect it. If you're picking up what I'm putting down here, I see a lot of similarities to early career Corey Seager and current year Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar needs to improve a lot of things to get to where Seager is now, his ground ball rate, his in-zone contact rates, his K rate, but he's only going to be 23 years old. I'd be crazy to not think that an insanely talented player like Gunnar Henderson couldn't improve on these things. I'm not saying he's Corey Seager, but I am saying he's discount Corey Seager, and discount Seager gets ranked at number 5. Standing ovation merchant Trea Turner of the Phillies comes in at 4. What a weird first season Turner had. To put it simply, he sucked for the first 107 games. He had an OPS of 657, and then it happened. Say whatever you would like, but he got a standing ovation from the Phillies fans and proceeded to hit 337 with 1,057 OPS with 16 home runs in 48 games. Was it inevitable that a great player like Turner was going to turn it around? Of course. But you can't help but think it actually did help him. All in all, he finished the year with a 3.8 FWAR and a 779 OPS. Not exactly what they paid for, but it certainly saved his season. I expect Turner to return to form in 2024. The average will be closer to 300, and it'll be right around that 25 homer mark. Maybe even give us a 30-30 season with the hitter-friendly Citizens Bank Park. I'm a little surprised we didn't see an uptick in stolen bases for Turner also. Maybe he was so focused on trying to fix his bat that he didn't have time to take advantage of the new rules. I don't know. He's just as fast as ever, though. Sprint speed in the 99th percentile. He should be stealing 40 bags pretty comfortably. Only thing holding Trea back on the rankings is the glove. It's just not very good. But everything else is great, and I'm expecting a bounce-back year, which is why I have him at number 4. Cooperstown-bound Francisco Lindor of the Mets is number 3. Many people will be upset I don't have him at number 2. Trust me, I thought about it a lot. There's nothing not to like about Lindor. He's an elite defensive shortstop that just turned in a 30-30 season. He was really able to take advantage of the new rules, as he almost doubled his stolen base count from 16 to 31 this year. His 470 slug and his 31 home runs are both the highest numbers he's put up since the super happy fun juiced ball year in 2019. The walk rate has stayed slightly above league average for many years now, and the K rate has never been over 20%. There's just no real hole in his game. He just feels like a guy who was born to play baseball because he seems like he's always doing the little things that won't show up on the stat sheet. The past 2 seasons, Lindor has averaged a 6.3 F4 and a 123 WRC plus. Just based on that statement alone, I don't have to justify why he's top 3, but I am going to have to justify why he's 3 and not 2. So let's go do that, shall we? The newly breaded up man, Bobby Witt Jr. of the Royals, is number 2. He was 23 years old last season and hit 30 home runs and stole 49 bases. He hits the ball very hard and has no problem keeping it off the ground. His 17.4% K rate is well above league average. He is the fastest player in all of Major League Baseball, and he is a top of the line defender at shortstop with 10 fielding run value. Are you sold yet? The Royals certainly are. He just signed an 11-year, $288 million extension. It's hard to believe I'm projecting someone that almost went 30-50 last season to get even better, but here I am. Witt is about to explode this year. From July 1st on, he slashed 310, 351, 578 for an OPS of 929. Over that time, he further improved his K rate to just 14.5% and improved his walk rate to 6.1%, which still isn't a good number, but an improvement. I expect Witt to get better. That 929 OPS stretch is what I expect him to be. The glove is going to stay elite, and he might steal 50 bags. A 40-40 season might be in our sights here, and I might sprinkle in an MVP bet for the number 2 shortstop. No surprises here at the top. Corey Seager of the Rangers is the best shortstop in baseball. To present my case, let me read off the names of players since 1947, the integration era, that have had a higher WRC plus in a season while playing at least 100 games at shortstop. There are none. Corey Seager literally just had the best offensive season by a shortstop of all time. In just 119 games, he hit 33 homers, he slugged over 600, and he doesn't even strike out a lot, 16.4% of the time. These are video game numbers. Real people don't really do this, which is why I'm not convinced Corey Seager is a real person. He swings at almost every pitch in the strike zone and still runs a league average chase rate, which is wildly impressive. There's essentially nothing he does poorly at the plate, and he's really leaned into his strengths to the point where he's elite at all of them, which leads you to a 15.2% barrel rate. It also helps that my man has 2 World Series MVPs now and is establishing himself as a great playoff performer. Can he run the bases well? No. Does he play shortstop particularly well either? Also no, but it's good enough. Off the heels of a historic offensive season, it was a no-brainer to put him here at number 1. And those are my top 10 shortstops in Major League Baseball. Chances are, if you made it this far in the video, you probably liked it, or you just completely hate watched it. In that case, that's fine too. But if you liked it, please like it. Comment if you disagreed on anything. And just thanks for watching in the video this far. Most people don't.